Already in 1608, Johannes Kepler's work Seminium Dream dealt with a literary journey to the moon and its extraterrestrial inhabitants. Later, it was Christiaan Huygens' work Cosmotheros from 1698 who wrote about hypothetical inhabitants of the planet Mercury. The idea that humans could meet extraterrestrials is therefore not new. We've already published several videos on our channel dealing with the possibility of extraterrestrial life. This video highlights what impact it would have on us if we actually find evidence of or even contact an extraterrestrial civilization. We'll distinguish 5 different scenarios and, depending on which scenario applies, how their effects differ. Thanks to television shows like Star Trek, which debuted in 1966, extraterrestrial life forms are no longer unusual in our culture today. But this was not always the case. The radio play War of the Worlds, masterfully directed by Orson Welles, 1915 to 1985, panicked people in the US in 1938, as they thought they were really facing an invasion from Mars, which we'll create a separate video about. On our planet, there are 5 major world religions, as well as countless smaller religions and cults. And there is a growing number of people with an agnostic or atheistic attitude across Western countries. The followers of one religion could, however, suffer a shock following the news that we're not alone in the universe, and certainly not the crown of creation. Even if the Catholic Church is relatively open to the subject, even if the extraterrestrials would be more developed than we are. Additionally, our economic system could suffer a substantial setback, and the stock exchanges would probably decline worldwide. I imagine extraterrestrials know little of our money system and would struggle why, in the 21st century, over 1 billion humans on our planet suffer from hunger, no entrance to clean water, and how we prioritize our energy disguised into the rescue of distressed banks. Whether there would be a mass panic would depend on whether the extraterrestrials would be seen as a threat. 1. We receive the signal of an extraterrestrial civilization. We've already received several interesting and mysterious signals, such as the WOW signal, but until now, we've lacked definitive proof that these were not of natural origin, but the attempted contact of extraterrestrial civilization. The discovery of a signal from an alien civilization would have great implications, showing that we're not alone in the universe. However, compared to the other scenarios, it would have the least impact on our own civilization. It would be the signal of a long-extinct civilization that sent its message thousands of years ago because of the great distances in the universe. 2. We discover primitive extraterrestrial life in our solar system. Mars has the methane mystery, and Jupiter's moon Europa or Saturn's moon Enceladus could have a subterranean energy source and liquid water under the ice shell, indicating that simple extraterrestrial life forms could exist on these 2 moons. As long as we're clearly the biologically and technologically superior civilization, the impact of the discovery would probably be limited. 3. We detect aliens through the technology they leave behind. In our video about Oumuamua, we've already studied Harvard professor A.V. Loeb's idea, who argues that this interstellar visitor was not a cosmic boulder, but an extraterrestrial probe with a thin solar sail, which could be the remnant of an ancient alien civilization. 4. We come into contact with an advanced extraterrestrial civilization that lands on Earth. Currently, the US Congress is investigating what the numerous UFO sightings by American military pilots could be about. In the past, the US military has already investigated the phenomenon in Project Blue Book, among others, as have many other armed forces. The most interesting result was delivered by the French Cometa report, and you can find more about it in our video. At present, however, the US Congress is not satisfied with the cooperation of the US military and the American intelligence services. Therefore, one brought UFO whistleblower protection into the play. At least the National Intelligence Manager for Aviation Office has a sense of humor, as its logo now shows a classic flying saucer. And not just any UFO, but one that was photographed in July 1952 over New Jersey and is in the archives of the CIA. If UFO phenomena should really be different extraterrestrial civilizations that have been visiting the Earth for decades or even centuries, this would have serious consequences for our self-understanding. In this case, a mass panic on Earth may not be prevented. After all, any civilization that travels the universe with ease and engages in interstellar space travel would, at best, be 100 years ahead of us technologically. 5. We discover that extraterrestrials have already lived on Earth for a long time, for example, in the deep sea. This scenario sounds like something out of the science fiction movie The Abyss. It would have by far the greatest impact and would probably throw our civilization into chaos. Aliens could have been living here for millennia, unnoticed by us on Earth. It would be improbable that they are hostile to us since they've had many years to turn against us. In the podcast Concrete on YouTube, James Fox, the producer of UFO documentaries like The Phenomenon, talked about this and how Robert Bigelow, who plays a strange role when it comes to UFOs, is convinced that this is the case and is the reason why governments have so far covered up the UFO phenomenon. His UFO documentary Moment of Contact about a UFO crash in Varginha, Brazil in 1996 will be released in October 2022, about which we'll also publish a video. Which scenario do you think is most likely? Write your opinion in the comments.